Hello, everybody. A very good evening to all who are joining from India. And if you're joining from somewhere outside of India, good morning or good afternoon. I am Bidisha Bhattacharya, Growth Manager of Stack.me. Welcome to the second season of the Stack.me Academy Masterclass on getting started with sports storytelling. Stack.me Academy is our initiative to ensure those who are on the platform and also creators around the world as well get to be better at things they are focusing on. For instance, writing, audio, podcasts, business writing, fiction, photography, illustrations, a lot of different topics that we are going to run our masterclasses on. So if you haven't checked out our earlier masterclasses yet, please do visit our YouTube channel or Facebook page where you will find them all. With that, I'm really excited to present our masterclass today with Lakshit Singhal on how to get started with sports storytelling. Lakshit is a lawyer by profession and a sports content creator by passion. He has been writing about sports for almost a decade now and had the opportunity to intern and work with top sports media houses such as Sports Kira, with over 50 pieces published on their website. Currently, he runs a cricket storytelling platform by the name of Cricket Field Chronicles on Stack.me. His posts present a unique collection of forgotten and untold stories, book or movie reviews and summaries, cricket fiction, poems, podcasts, and much more. In addition to this, he also offers curated cricket stories in the form of a zine, which is available to download and read from Amazon and his Stack.me profile. So, without further ado, I will hand the floor off to Lakshit. And at the end of the session, we will have Q&A. So, wherever you are following this masterclass from, please drop in your questions in the comment section. We've always tried our best in answering most questions in our previous sessions. So, we promise to make that happen today as well. With that, Lakshit, over to you.
Thank you, Bidisha. Thank you so much for the lovely introduction. It's a pleasure to be here. Hello, everyone. And thank you to everyone who has taken time out of their busy schedule to join us today for this masterclass. So, since we will be talking about sports storytelling today, let me start by sharing how I ended up doing what I do right now. A major part of my childhood uh, was spent watching and playing cricket, from basically playing in the streets of Delhi, then representing my school, and then representing my university. I've been extremely fortunate to have played this game at various levels. At the same time, there was also this realization that I might not be able to pursue it professionally, and this is where my interest in reading and exploring the game from various different perspectives came into the picture. Then I went on and did a few internships with in sports journalism with various media houses, which basically helped me hone my writing skills. And even though I wasn't a big fan of reading and writing on sports, but I think somewhere I just wanted to stay connected with the game in whichever way possible. And it was during the lockdown that I finally just decided to experiment and gave birth to Cricket Field Chronicles, which is basically where I write my cricket stories, and I also have a mission of exposing the cricket fans all over the world to the vast and unexplored area of cricket literature. So, in today's masterclass, what I will be focusing on is how you, as a cricket fan or as a cricket writer, can basically kickstart their journey as a sports storyteller. Now, why I chose this particular topic is because of two particular reasons. One is that the world of sports is full of stories, both on the field and on the field, of the field, sorry. You will find the stories of struggle, inspiration, miracles on the field, and at the same time you will find stories about corruption or scandals by people who basically run this game. So I just thought that these stories, which bring so much context to the game, will help you, and it will also be very interesting to see how these stories can help you in carving a career and help you in starting your journey as a sports writer. And the second reason of choosing this particular topic was I just wanted to pick a particular niche, and I just wanted to help you guys so that since my writings have mostly focused on sports storytelling, I think I'll be better equipped to share my learnings and experiences in this particular niche rather than sharing like uh, all other earnings in the sports content creation space. So just give me a second. I'll share my slides with you. Yes. So here, yeah. So here it is. Uh, just give me a second. Yes. So let's start with. So I'll just start by what my writing process has been about all over these years and what I have learned makes for a you can say a comprehensive writing process. So see these are the six essentials which I have figured out in my journey of writing and sports storytelling. Also on the slide you will be able to see one of my write-ups which through which I'll guide you on all these essentials. So let's start. The first of these essentials is research. Now, research, I believe, is the backbone of any writing, podcasting, video creation, or any sports telling, storytelling in whatever field you are in. I think research is very important, and research gives you an advantage over so many other people who are wanting to enter this area or who are wanting to write on this particular aspect of the game. A strong research not only helps you gain so many different perspectives, but it also takes you on another level when you basically sit down and write or record in whatever format you choose to do so. So uh, now let's assume let's take that you're passionate about a particular sport. Let's take for like cricket, let's take cricket for an example. Now in cricket there is so much to research, there is so much to explore on basically how the game has developed over the years. In India, if we see how the game has evolved since it entered in country in 18th century or some in that particular era, how the game progressed. So if you're able to research well, if you're able to compile the data and then you sit down and write, I think that gives a very strong foundation to whatever you are writing upon or whatever you are going to record as a podcaster or as a video creator. So this will be my advice to the budding writers or anybody who's willing or aspiring to enter in this field. Please focus as much time as you can on your research. That, I think, is the first step you should do if you're aspiring to be a storyteller or a writer or a content creator generally. Second point is of heading. Now, as you can see in my slide, this is one of my articles which I have written on cricket, poetry, and music. This particular article dealt with how two of the West Indies bowlers led their team to their first ever victory in England, and that victory inspired a calypso song by the people who were present on the ground. Now, there can be many ways to basically headline this particular story, but I chose to do it with the headline cricket, poetry, and music. Now, why I did this was because I wanted to gather the interest of the reader that this has to do something not just with the sport but also with how sport inspired people to basically give a different definition, a different meaning to victory, to something which they have been wanting for so long. So having a having a very captivating definition not only gives you an advantage in the mix of so many articles which are floating online, but it will also help you stay you can say relevant over a long period of time, where if your article basically is read even after 10 years, if you have a strong headline even after 10 years, I think anybody will stop and have a look at that particular article. So yeah, do work on the headings, and please make sure that your headings are interesting, catchy, and short. Now, third part is narration. Narration, I think, is a very key aspect of storytelling, where you have to be concise. Your words have to be simple, and you basically have to avoid jargon. Now, you don't have to use fancy words always in an article to make it appealable, or to make it basically look very fancy, that okay, I now know very uh, like it's very understandable that if you're writing the most simpler way you present it in, I think the more appealable your writing or your storytelling becomes. And I think this is what differentiates storytelling also from a generic article, is how you're able to basically talk to your reader while writing. See, that is a very you can say difficult task, but I think that is what makes it exciting as well. Because in storytelling, your narration is the key. The way you narrate the facts, the way you present your data, the way you contextualize the whole event or the particular athlete you're talking about, I think that is what differentiates a good storytelling piece from a very generic sports article or a very generic piece. So I think if you are interested in basically getting into storytelling, or you have interest in doing something of this sorts, my advice would be that start working on your narrations, start writing as much as you can, because the more you write, the more you will be able to experiment, the more you will be able to basically learn, and that way your narrations will improve. That way you'll be able to gather feedback from the audience, what they're liking, what they're not. So yeah, so I think that is something again you can focus on. Then fourth essential is sentence construction. This is something somewhat related to the narration part. Since I mentioned in my narration part that you have to use simpler words, you have to avoid jargon, you don't have to use fancy words. In sentence construction, you have to keep in mind that your sentences are short, they are crisp, they are not long that the reader loses his or her focus if they're reading long sentences. So just try and keep them as short as possible, and don't go overboard in just if you like wanting to state something, try to state that in as many less words as you can. So there is a famous saying that like less is the more. I think that perfectly applies in the sentence construction part of it. Keep it short, don't go overboard, don't create like 3 4 line sentences, because the reader will lose their interest in whatever they are reading. So yeah, sentence construction. Then next we move to the structure part. For structure part, I like to show you my article which I wrote. So see, if you can see the slide on the structure part, on the left side is the introduction which I wrote for my article, and on the right side is the conclusion which I wrote for my article. Now, what structure, giving structure to your story or your article means is your introduction has to match with the conclusion. Basically, you have to give a closure to what you started in the first paragraph. And if you are not doing that, the reader or the viewer, in whatever format you are doing it, will lose their again interest, and the story will not basically appeal to them. It won't thrill them, it won't give them the satisfaction they are seeking. So as you can see in the introduction part, I began my article with the line, ever heard a game of cricket inspiring music? Now this particular line was meant to capture the interest of the reader. Now he or she, whoever is reading it, knows that this particular story is about music or cricket or something related to that. Now I have to end it in the similar fashion. Who gave the music? What was the match? What were the performances? What happened actually? Who were the teams? Who were the players? See, all these will constitute my body. They will answer these questions the readers have there in my mind, have in their mind, and then in their conclusion, they will know. a summary of who did what, which that inspired like what was the game that basically inspired this music. So in the conclusion part, I wrote Lord Kitchener in traditional Caribbean style penned a cricket calypso immediately after the victory and led a group of supporters on the streets of London singing it. The Calypso Victory Test match. Now, this is the Calypso or the music which I was talking about in my first sentence or in my first paragraph. This was the music, this was the song which was composed and which went on to become a very popular song on cricket. So, see, this is how you have to structure your story or your podcast again, I like whichever format you are doing it in. But it's very important for you to give a structure to your story. Otherwise, the reader will not be thrilled or satisfied with it. So, yeah, that is the structure part of it. And I think this is a very important, and the next one basically is a very important yet the most ignored part of storytelling or writing is proofreading it. What we as writers do are we are so consumed by our research, by our writing, by our editing that we most often forget that the final piece which goes out there on the web has to be error free. Now, like as I said, it's like very important but yet the most ignored part. But I think this is one of those areas which defines a good writer or a good storyteller from a great storyteller. Because see, when a reader or when you're asking a reader or any person or a fan of a particular sport to read what you have written, you're asking for their time. Now you have to value their time. And how do you do that? By removing the errors, by removing your by refining your writing, by not letting any substandard writing or a line to go in the final piece that you are putting out on the web. So again, do proofread, do make sure that every time when you have written something you have to proofread it uh, before you put it out on the web. So these are the six essentials which I have followed, which I learned during my time of writing or my internships, and which I followed till date whenever I sit down or whenever I plan to do a story or a write up, since I mostly write at the moment. So that is why. So, but these are the six essentials which I think every aspiring storyteller or a writer should keep in their mind. Yes. So moving on now, how do you find a story? I think this is one of those aspects which I have received a lot of messages about, which I have interacted with so many of you on the internet. My friends have asked me about it. That how do you find a particular story? How do you where do you get these stories from? Now finding a story is no science, there is no it's no rocket science. I think with sports, as I have mentioned before as well, it's full of stories. Every day you will find something or the other happening in various sports, uh, and across various countries. So finding a story, I don't think so it's a problem. The problem is to give a particular story the meaning it deserves. I think the to basically put that story out in a format which is uh, which is basically appealable, which can be read by uh, all. So like again, where do I go to when I need a story? So as like I have been reading a lot of books, and like I like to divide this particular section of finding a story in two parts, which I've also mentioned in my slide. One is the non-fiction aspect, another is the fiction aspect. Now for most of you, non-fiction I think will be the more relatable part, because that has been like that is something which we consume every day, every minute of our lives. Fiction is something which I myself like started exploring a few years back, and a major credit of it goes to this particular book I read. The I think the name of the book is Chinamen. It's by a Sri Lankan writer Shehan. I think that particular book explored basically opened like a new avenues for me in the field of sports fiction. And after that I started looking at stories from a fictional point of view as well. So yeah, but like let's go in the chronological order. So non-fiction stories, where you can get these stories from, I'll advise start reading books. There is a whole lot of literature out there. Yes, for some sports it might be more, for some it might be less, but there is a lot of literature available out there. Read books, start reading what other writers have to write. I am still an amateur, I still am learning from so many other great writers, great storytellers who have been working in this field professionally. So yeah, start reading their work, start reading books. I think that gives you so much of content which you can then use to frame a story or frame a particular article from. And yeah, and as I've said before, there's no rocket science. I think for non-fiction there is so much of content. You just have to basically start digging in, and you will find a good non-fiction story. Now, when it comes to a fictional story, I think that basically becomes a sort of creative writing, and you need to, and that is also I think very interesting, because now you will have to uh, open up your imaginations to what basically you can create in a sports story, in a sports fiction story, I would say. So as I mentioned before, Chinnaman, which I read, is basically story of Sri Lanka, the politics of that country, of the people there, the sufferings, and everything about the island nation. But it is tied by a thread of basically of it is tied by a thread of cricket. Now, is like cricket basically drives that story, but it is not a story about cricket. It's so many, there are so many other aspects to it. And there are so many other fictional books out there. So what I think you can also try and do is explore the fictional aspect of sports storytelling as well, where you can use your passion for sports, where you can use your understanding for various sports, and you can combine it with your imaginative capabilities. Like you can tell a story of like basically something like as weird as I don't know, like about like, just take like simple like politics of a country through sports. You can tell, or you can also tell like, a story about two friends, and you can just bring in sports somewhere there. So there are no limits to what you can tell, or where you can find a story, if you are actually willing to write a story on sports. So but yeah, again, then you have to just go out there, start researching, start exploring the literature that is available out there, and yeah, you will have your story there. So yeah, let's move on to now the third aspect. After you have figured out what story you want to write upon, and you have worked on your essentials, now next is how to get your work out there. Now, this is one of those areas which even I struggled with in my initial days of when I started Cricket Field Chronicles, because I didn't know where I have to put out my work. Because, like the conventional route which is followed is you write something, and if it is good enough, you send it out to various media houses or publishing houses. And if your writing is good enough, or if your piece is good enough, they will publish it, or else they will send it back to you, and it will not make it to the web. Now, another aspect of it is that you can put it out on a blog. But that, if like, does that actually give you any advantage, or does it actually benefit you in some way? Maybe it can. But then again, how to basically improve the reach, or how to as I've written, leverage social media to get what you have written out there to the world, and gather feedback, and keep growing on it. So the first thing I did was to use Instagram to my advantage. Whatever I wrote, I posted it on Instagram in the carousel format. Now, what I did was, like, if I have written a 500 or 600 word story, I divided it into multiple slides. So Instagram gives you an option to put 10 slides in a single post. What I do is I divide those my stories in different carousel posts, and basically combine them with a picture, and then post them as a post on Instagram. So this is how I started my like posting, uh, like leveraging my like leveraging social media for my work out there. And slowly and steadily people started reading them. I was skeptical that if whether people will read it, because Instagram, I'm not sure if it was a good choice at that point of time, because it's not very you can say reader friendly. But to my surprise, a lot of people read, a lot of people engaged, a lot of people provided me feedback. They also like helped me improve my writing. And yeah, it's been almost now 18 19 months since I've been following this format. And so this is one of the ways you can also try and start your journey. You don't have to wait for a media house to get back to you. You just have to write, you just have to start posting it. And if it is good enough, and if you have diligently worked on your story, I believe you will be getting the desired response on it. Another tool which you can use in getting your work out there are platforms. As I mentioned before, the blogging platforms which come into the picture. WordPress is there, Medium is there, Substack is there, and now as we can see, even Scroll Stack allows you to do that. So my journey with Scroll Stack began a few months ago when I was basically I wanted to also like apart from Instagram, I also wanted to have a home for all my content which I have been creating for Cricket Field Chronicles. And when I was searching on the web, which particular platform can give me that advantage, so I stumble upon the Scroll Stack. And yeah, I think they were solving all my like they were meeting all my requirements. And I just decided to post all my writings on their platform. So yeah, I think there you can basically you can use any of these platforms. And apart from Instagram or Facebook, if you wish to decide use that as well. Or there is Twitter. Twitter has a very active cricket audience, so you can use that also to spread word about your writings or your content or your podcast. So I think in this particular digital age, or in 2022, like spreading word about your work shouldn't be an issue. You just have to be, I think, diligent about it. You have to promote it shamelessly. You don't have to like worry about that what will my readers say, or what response I will get, because I think that is something you will be like discouraging yourself to go like to move ahead in this journey. So use all the resources you have, use all the platforms you have. There are like wonderful platforms out there. Use all of them, and spread as much word as you can about your writings. That I think that is the best way to go about it, and that is the best way to grow, and that is the best way to learn. So yeah, that is how you can leverage social media to get your work out there. And now the final part of today's masterclass is my learnings in, you can say, in the last decade or so. And this is what I call my 3F strategy, basically. And this is what I've learned in all my years of content creation. So yeah, first is forget your fear of failure. It won't take you anywhere. As I said before, write and put it out there on the web. Create and put it out on there, uh, whatever platform you are using. Don't be ashamed of it. Don't be very what will readers say. Max to max is like you will get a lot of criticism for it, which also I believe will help you grow. I I've written close to around, I think, 70 80 stories now on my platform, and I've written a lot more before that. And some have done well and some haven't done well, and people have basically criticized my writings as well. They've given me feedback on them, like this one is not as interesting and this could have been better. So I think just forget, don't worry about getting failed. Start creating, start writing, and put it out on the web. Second is focus on your community, not your followers. I think this is something which we are going. This is a very you can say, I don't know how to say it, but not a very pleasant trend which is currently going on. That whenever anybody wishes or aspires to enter into the content creation space, the first thing in their mind is to gain followers. I think that strategy won't work for you in the long run. It might work for you in the short run, but it won't take you anywhere, because your followers are not your, how do I put it? They're not the readers. They're not your content consumers. They're just your followers. They won't engage with you. They won't help you learn. They won't help you grow, and they basically are just numbers for you. Rather, I would say, build your community, value anybody who engages with your content, who comments, who wishes to talk to you, who wishes to provide you feedback, who wishes to congratulate you in whatever way they're willing to. But focus on building a strong community. I think a very strong and a very I think community is something which will take you forward in the content creation space. So yeah, it might take you time. It is taking me as time as well. But I think community should be your focus, and that will help you. And the final is finding your niche. uh, like, you as a sports fan, you might, like, I think you come across hundreds of content pieces, opinion pieces, articles, videos on the web, and until and unless your article is differentiated in some form or the other, there are very less chances it will be consumed or read. So start working on your niche, find your niche, what you can do to differentiate yourself or your writings or anything you are creating. The moment you find your niche, that will differentiate you from so many others who are doing the same thing, and that will give you an advantage over not only the people who are copying or basically going in the same direction. It will also give you and your brand a definition, a meaning, which I think, again, as I said, will help you in the long run if you are aspiring to pursue sports writing, sports storytelling, or content creation professionally. So yeah, these three, I think, the 3F strategy, as I call it. Forget your fear of failure, focus in your community, and find your niche. These are my learnings, and yeah, so I think I have helped you somewhat in taking the next step which you require to in the sports content creation space. So, and if any one of you at any point of time wishes to get in touch with me, send your write-ups to me for feedback, or engage with me, please feel free to do that. And yeah, that will be from my side.
Thank you, Lakshit. That was an excellent presentation. We do have a question from Durgesh, and we also have a couple of questions from our end. So, Durgesh asks, what separates storytelling from a long article?
Okay, so first of all, thanks to Durgesh. Durgesh has been a long associated friend of mine. He also worked with me in the uh, first issue of Zine, which I put out. So thank you for that, Durgesh. So what differentiates storytelling from a long article is the context, and the and context and the narration, I would like to say. I think context is very important. In what context that particular story is, what impact that particular event had on, it can be on the society, it can be on the game, it can be on the player. So that, I think, these are some of the aspects which differentiate storytelling from a generic article, I believe.
Great. So you've spoken about, your Zine, which is amazing. It's out now on stack.me as well as Amazon. So what was the inspiration behind the Zine? And also, have you considered mixing audio with your articles and the Zine format?
Okay, so inspiration behind Zine was again the same which the inspiration was behind creating the platform. Is It's basically I'm on a mission to showcase as much cricket literature I can to the world, to the cricket fans. I think there's a recency phenomena which we are consumed by. We consume the content which is very recent, which is very new, and we forget what happened in the past or what basically made the game what it is today. So the idea
Right.
behind Zine came from there. I just wanted to curate all these stories from different sources. So like in my Zine, there is a section for off the story, of the field stories as well, where I have written about fantasy sports, the legal aspects related to it, the business aspects of it. And so yeah, the idea behind Zine was this, that I just wanted to put out I wanted to curate stories from different areas into a single place, so that anyone who wants to explore the game not just from one perspective but from various perspectives could just like read the Zine, and he or she will be able to, I think, gather a lot of information, and I think they will really like it. So yeah, the idea was that, and luckily I also got a good response from, and like everybody who read it. So yeah, I'm sorry
Excellent.
I've
Also,
missed your second part of the question. Can you just repeat it?
yeah, the second part is, have you considered mixing, audio, native audio, or podcasts in general with the Zine or your
Yes,
articles?
yes. See, podcasts are in line, but again, I want, as I mentioned in my presentation as well, I want to give it time. I want to build a community. I don't want to rush things in. I'm still in that phase where I'm uh, meeting new people. I'm learning from so
Yes,
many
yes.
of my fellow creators. So yeah, definitely podcasts are in line. Someday they will happen. I'm not sure when they will happen, but yes, they will.
We also have a question from Trishang. How to keep narration or story small yet captivating?
So I think it depends on the story you are telling. Uh, uh, like some stories can be short, some stories have to be long. I think the key aspect is basically to keep the reader engaged. Like you have to it's basically you're talking to the reader, you have to always
Right.
keep talking to them, you don't have to lose them. So if like it can be short, it can be long. Like there are some of my stories which are 500 word or 400 word short. There's some which I have to go till 800 because I have to give that context from where that particular incident came from. So I think words, like they matter, but still I believe that it's important that you keep the reader hooked, you keep the reader engaged till the last minute. You don't give out the ending in like in the first paragraph or second. You build that suspense, you build that story, you have elements in between. So this is something I like in fictional stories. Like I can build it on my own, I can have my elements, I can bring in surprises, I can add as many characters I can. Non-fictional stories don't give me that advantage, but then again I think keeping the readers hooked through narration or through sentence construction. I think sentence construction is very important in storytelling. How do you construct your sentences? You have to keep them short, yet you have to keep them exciting. You have to keep them simple. So I think these are some of the ways you can keep them. You can basically limit the length of your stories in whatever words you want. Uh, yes.
Excellent. And finally, one fun question. What are your favorite cricket podcasts if you listen to?
Yes, so there are so many. I think 22 Yarns is one of the popular ones, which I like. I think a lot, most of us cricket fans would have listened to. Then there is one, the Great Cricketer. I really enjoy listening to. Uh, there is one more. I'm not able to recall its name. Yeah, I think there are a few I enjoy listening to. I think the podcasts have really enhanced my understanding of the game. I started listening to podcasts a few years ago. They've really enhanced my understanding of the game. Uh, I think it has opened so many new avenues. Like people from all walks of life come to these podcasts. They talk about their experiences. Not just
Right.
cricketers. There are writers. there are creators, there are people from sports fraternity, there are administrators who come to these podcasts. So you get to learn different aspects of sports from these, I think, podcasts. And this is why I think podcasts interest me. So, but yeah, I think as I said before, I'll give it time, and then maybe someday I'll have my podcast of my own as well.
Awesome. So, with this, thank you so much, Lakshit, for your time. I'm sure you've inspired a lot of people to get their journey on sports writing started. And for those not sure to use an appropriate platform for your work, stack.me is the place for you. Thank you, everybody, for joining. See you guys next week with a next week with a different topic and a different creator. So, till then, have a great week. Bye, all. Thank you.